Hey team, I've got a bonus episode for you. I've just come across this video that's gone viral. It involves a guy out of the States who's created what looks like a TV commercial for a luxury car, but is actually helping to sell his girlfriend's beaten up old Honda on eBay. The result in its first week of posting has been astounding. So I've tracked him down for a chat.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
Welcome to a bonus episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, which is made possible thanks to Prosper, Australia's #1 online lender to small business. Check them out, Prosper, prospa.com/Timbo, and American Express, Explorer credit card. New members who spend $3,000 in the first 3 months from the card approval date get a bonus 1,000 reward points. So I'm surfing the internet a couple of days ago and come across this hilarious yet beautifully shot 60-second video that looks like a TV commercial for a luxury car, but is in fact a video to help sell a beaten-up old Honda. It was produced by Max Landman, who's an LA-based writer and director. He explains why he did it early up in the interview. Suffice to say that at the time of me going to air with this story, the video, in its first 10 days, has had over 6 million views. eBay have had to pull it twice. Well, did they mean to or didn't they? Max will address that. Plus, Max has had hundreds of thousands of dollars of media coverage, and he hasn't slept for over a week. This is a really cool story with a mountain of marketing learnings for us all. I started off by asking Max, what on earth has he created?
Thanks. Yeah, it's crazy. It really took on a life of its own. We had no expectations when we put it up. We just had a lot of fun making it, and our MO from the beginning was have fun making it, relax, and make each other laugh. And we did that, and we were very pleased that it was so well received. And honestly, my team has had different levels of internet success, and this was just like so far beyond everything we've experienced, so it was pretty cool.
Well, listen, this is an audio interview, so first of all, describe the video to us.
Yeah. So the inspiration for the commercial came from a trip I took to Big Sur here in California. I was driving with my girlfriend, who's now my fiance. We were going up to Big Sur to go camping, and it dawned on me that while we're traversing these beautiful switchbacks on the Pacific coast, that it would be really funny to make a high-end car commercial for a really crappy car. And fortunately, Carrie had just the car for the job. So we basically started with that high-level concept, and when it came down to actually making it happen, we realized that on a surface level, that's a funny concept. But what's really funny is not to just do the obvious jokes, like focusing on how the mediocre features. We also decided that we wanted to make this real and make an actual pitch to the consumer. So I came up with a tagline, "Luxury is a state of mind," and worked backwards from there. And the concept of the commercial, it is really focused on this character and developing this character, this person who is the protagonist, who is the person that we're pitching the car to. And that's someone who is pragmatic, utilitarian, casual, confident, does not care about outward appearances, and just needs to get somewhere. And so the commercial starts, the first half is all these sort of character pieces that tell us a little bit about who this person is. She's got life hacks that make her day go more smoothly and easily. Like, she has a mirror in the back of her trunk, so she does her hair up there. Then we go inside the car, and she's still using her iPod Classic from 10 years ago. She has a coffee maker strapped in to the passenger seat, so she has coffee on the go. And her good friend Papa Puff Pants, her cat, is riding along with her on this little day trip that she's decided to take. And at sort of midway through the commercial, we break to the Pacific Coast and go more towards the traditional car commercial action shots. And using a drone, we filmed all these beautiful aerials of this very mediocre car making its way up the coast. And ultimately, she ends up at her destination, which is just an overlook where she can enjoy a burrito and watch the sunset. And that's pretty much what it's all about. But it's all driven by a voiceover narration. And some have said that it's a la Matthew McConaughey's Lincoln commercials. And it's definitely in that vein and being serious and not too tongue-in-cheek, pretty much straight up deadpan.
I'll just pause, Max, there for a minute, and here you go. I'll play you the voiceover from the video.
You're different. You do things your way. That's what makes you one of a kind. You don't need things. You're happy with who you are. You don't care about money. You have everything you've ever wanted. You don't do it for appearances. You do it because it works. And this is not a car. This is you. It's a lifestyle. A choice. Your choice. Introducing a used 1996 Honda Accord. A car for people who have life figured out and just need a way to get somewhere.
And now, back to the interview.
Luxury is a state of mind.
What's beautiful about it is this constant juxtaposition of you feel like you're watching an ad for Lexus, yet what's being sold is a however old Honda Civic with about 300,000 clicks on the clock and worth about, what, $1,500?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We realized early on and bet really big on that being the joke, which is that the more seriously we took making the commercial, the funnier the end result would be, because you're constantly reminded that the car is still just a piece. Like, it looks and sounds like a very below average car.
Yeah. Tell me, before we just talk about the success you've had with it, you mentioned you started with the tagline, luxury is a state of mind, and worked your way back. There's a lot of small business owners listening to this, Max, who, essentially struggle with creating marketing messages. Now, there's a number of ways you can do it, but I haven't heard that one before. Start with a tagline, work your way back. Can you just sort of explain how you do that?
Yeah, it's really trying to get at the essence of what I, thought a pitch for this car would be, and I wouldn't say that I always work that way in terms of developing creative for an ad or marketing campaign. Some other times I'll lay out all of my thoughts and just sort of brain dump everything, and then work with the client to figure out what the most important feature is, or what the biggest sort of message they want to get across is. In this case, we didn't have the client; we were the client, and in thinking about who would actually want this car, we were trying to think of, or I was trying to think of the most aspirational possible sell for that person, and to try to put the most positive spin on someone who would want to buy a used 21-year-old Honda.
Understand your audience, Marketing 101. So how many man-hours was spent on the production, and how many dollars?
So I've been asked that question a couple times. Man-hours, probably myself personally, over 200 hours, because I wrote, directed it, produced it, edited it. I did the motion graphics animation. I recorded the sound and the Foley, and was involved in every step, which is unusual. Normally, I just will write and direct. So that part, I invested a lot of time. I'm not sure exactly how many hours the rest of my team spent, but my DP, Chris Ripley, also spent a lot of time and was my partner creatively, and he also did the color correction.
What did it cost?
Yeah, so the cost was basically gas money. We rented a pickup truck for a couple of the action shots, and then food for the cast and crew. So if you were to talk about, we used all of our own equipment, all of my cameras and my drone, and it was more of a sweat equity situation where we just all put in a lot of time.
So you finish the video. You then create an eBay listing, about 10 days ago. You post the video to eBay as part of the marketing materials. What happened?
Yeah, so I'd actually I have 4 brothers, and I use them as my focus group. And I had told them that I wanted to do eBay, and one of my brothers thought it would be funnier and more approachable to do Craigslist. But I said, in the off chance that this thing takes off, eBay, and eBay would allow us to potentially sell it for more money, but also there might be, more of a story to it if the eBay thing took off.
Good on you.
That part was a little bit premeditated, but totally unexpected. So when we launched on eBay, I think in the first day, it beat the Kelly Blue Book value, which I was happy about. And then
it beat what?
It beat the Kelly Blue Book value, which is just a reference that tells you how much your car is worth here in the States, and that was $1,500. And then we made the front page of Reddit on Thursday.
Wow!
And overnight, the media picked it up, and by Friday, we were starting to get all these press hits. And the eBay thing took on a life of its own and shot up to $150,000 by Sunday night. And then we had been reached out to by eBay that they were monitoring the listing and they were aware of the commercial and they loved the commercial. And then unexpectedly, we received a call on Sunday night that it had been canceled in error. And eBay asked us to restart the auction, which we did. And then that auction ran until, I think, Thursday of last week, even though it was supposed to go till last night. And eBay canceled that one as well in error. So not exactly sure what's going on over there. But as it stands now, we also had an offer from CarMax to buy the car for $20,000, and that came in last week. And we haven't finalized our decision, but clearly that's a pretty sweet offer, and you'll definitely hear an update from us pretty soon.
So we're right in the middle of the storm. Tell me, eBay cancelling twice. Now, I was under the impression the first time when it got up to $150,000 that it was the work of a troll. Am I wrong there, or is that what happened?
I'm not sure.
You don't know, but they cancelled it anyway.
Yeah, they had been removing bids, so we know that they had reached out to bidders, and yeah, there are definitely people having fun with it and definitely clowning around, but we don't know to what extent it was actually real or not. But yeah, so it's all been just like a whirlwind, and that all of that has been happening in parallel with me going on a press junket that I never planned for without any support, and booking all of that and going on TV and all this stuff.
Well, listen, we'll come to that because I'm interested. That's a particular interest. But eBay pulled it a second time, got up to $150,000 the first time they pulled it. Second time they pulled it, how much was it up to?
$5,600.
Okay, that's significantly different. So clearly some hackers have got into the system and were mucking around with it.
I'm not sure. I think, people post fake bids or whatever. That definitely happens, especially with like big public stories. Yeah. The second time around, though, we know that they were individually approving each bid. So it was definitely going slower and it had far less traffic. So, the first one was during the bulk of our viral surge. So we know that we drove a lot of people directly from the video, and then with all the press that it was getting a lot of play. So.
Well, man, front page of Reddit alone, I mean, that's significant. Now you've got an offer. Who's offered you $20,000?
CarMax, which is a company that buys and sells used cars. And their sort of MO was very synergistic with what they decided to do, and they created a video in the spirit of our original video, doing something funny and making an offer to us to buy the car, and all of the props that are in the video, they assigned a price to. So yeah, their business is to buy cars and make it really easy for people to sell their cars to them with one simple, non-negotiable offer. So that's exactly what they did for us. They made it.
So you are right now deciding whether to sell it for $20,000 or go again on eBay or whatever you do. Now, Max, what's really interesting here is the marketing aspect for your business and your personal brand. You're a filmmaker, you're a storyteller, you're a communicator by trade. So this is a brilliant play in terms of building your business, no doubt. Tell us about the media coverage that you've had.
Thank you. So again, we had pipe dreams that any of this would work out the way it's working out. But we did say, we were excited, my team at least, which was my DP Chris, who was my college roommate at Yale and someone I work with professionally still to this day, and my composer, Andrew Johnson, who also went to Yale, and we've worked together professionally for years now. We had hoped that this would double as a comedy piece and as a spec calling card for
showreel
our work. So your question, say that again.
Well, what's the media? Tell us about the media coverage. You've peaked now that you're on the Small Business Big Marketing show, so well done for that. But
yeah.
But what about over there? So you were on Reddit.
Yeah.
You said what's the most significant coverage you've had?
Yeah, so I'll just give you the chronology of it.
Yeah.
By the time it reached the front page of Reddit, it was like Thursday night. Around like 5 p.m. and by like 5:30, I was getting cold calls from local reporters who wanted to cover the story. So we were on the local news in LA Thursday night. Friday morning, I woke up with my inbox flooded with requests, and we ended up with the Today Show, which picked it up on Tuesday after the weekend, and then Good Morning America ran a segment where they sent a crew over to my place and interviewed me on Wednesday. And then we also got hits on all of the major outlets that we could possibly imagine. Vice, BBC One aired it on their breakfast show. I actually appeared on Channel 7 Sunrise in Australia. And yeah, I can't even think off the top of my head. Daily Mail, it was just everywhere. Adweek picked it up. We got so much coverage; it was just insane.
Max, we're talking. I'm going to say you have received at least hundreds of thousands of dollars in free media coverage as a result of this. There's no doubt. You're in the eye of the storm right now, so it's probably hard to kind of figure out what it all means. It'd be really interesting to speak in 6 months' time to see what it does for your business. But I want to thank you. I don't want to wrap up yet, but I do want to thank you for making the time for appearing on this show, because here's the thing. You could easily go, you know what, I'm just under the pump. And you did email me a couple of times saying, can we move it, or maybe, can we make it quick because you are under the pump. And I really admire the fact that you are, excuse the old cliche, but making hay while the sun shines, right? Because this isn't going to last forever.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
And if it means you doing, 23-hour days for the next however long, then probably, I'm guessing, so be it, because I can only think that this is going to be a launching pad for some pretty significant business for you and your colleagues.
Yeah, absolutely. And to speak to that a little bit, I really haven't slept for a week and a half since this all started, and I don't regret that. My body's telling me, screw you, but it's totally been worth it, and I have just tried my best to jump on every opportunity. And I also love talking to someone like you, because you're seeing the crux of the story, which is that this is it is a fun human interest story for major media, but it's also very significant and meaningful for my life and my business. I started a creative agency in 2010 and have had pretty decent success making a life out of that. But this has put me on a map in a way that is really putting me in front of the right people, not just with big brands, but also with other agencies and production companies. So I'm very fortunate and grateful that the internet has done this for me.
Do you have a criteria for deciding what you choose? Because I think you're going to have a lot of choice in the coming weeks and months. I mean, I'm looking at a press release from eBay. It says we're hoping to work on some creative video projects with Max in the future. So there's some opportunities to work with eBay. Not sure I'd want to be working with someone who'd cancelled my auction twice, but hey, that's your decision. You're going to be hit up, I guess, from big brands, small brands, media outlets. That's my hope for you. If that happens, is there a criteria? Are you going to choose the biggest budget, or what are you going to do?
Yeah, well, one of my biggest takeaways from this project was that we do the best work when we're the happiest and free to be the most creative. And for me personally, that's always when I have the most fun. And I'm definitely looking for partners that can bring me big, business opportunities. But I'm also looking for that type of dynamic where someone appreciates and respects and encourages that sort of creative license, because that's ultimately when I've done my best work, is when we get to have fun and go crazy.
You've mentioned this concept of happiness a couple of times. It was fun and happiness were the criteria for doing this Honda video. Clearly going forward, it's a criteria for choosing who you work with. Is it easy to choose projects that are going to bring you happiness, or does it take an element of business courage?
That's a really good question. I think I'm now in a unique position that I wasn't in before, where I actually might have some control over making decisions, because previously, inbound projects, my business has survived solely on word of mouth marketing alone. Like, I've never done proper digital ads, or I'm not really the best salesperson in terms of chasing people down and keeping leads hot. So, yeah, I think that ultimately is the key to a better product from just every aspect of the production, both from being happy with the terms of the deal that you set up, as well as on a smaller scale on a set. I found that if you keep your crew happy, if you keep your talent happy, if you keep everyone sort of feeling really positive about the whole experience, everyone does better work, everyone works harder, and I think the final product shows for it.
Max, where can listeners find more about you?
My personal work is on maxlandman.com, and my agency is called Leao, L-E-A-O, and our website's leao.tv.
Love it, buddy. Well, I think it's a great story. Congratulations. You deserve all the success that it brings to you, and I'm going to watch it with interest over the coming days and weeks.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
What a brilliant, brilliant story of business smarts, creativity, and clever marketing. After we finished, Max told me off the record that Honda had reached out to him with some kind of offer. He didn't say what, but I could tell in his voice that he was quite excited about it. By the time this goes to air, that off-the-record conversation will very much be on the record and out in the public domain, so you can Google the result. You can also find out more about Max, watch the video, etc. at maxlandman, LANMAN.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at maxlandman. And you can find out everything about this episode over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/391. I hope you enjoyed this quick bonus episode. It's because of the amazing support I get from my sponsors. I couldn't do it without them, this kind of stuff, like American Express and Prosper. So thank you guys for allowing me to do it, and please support those brands if you can. Next week, you and I are going to meet TV royalty, Australian TV royalty, radio royalty, comedian extraordinaire Richard Stubbs, who I believe is one of the best interviewers going around. So the entire episode is dedicated to learning the art of interviewing. Boy, I need a bit of that. That's why I did it. Anyone who's creating content and doing interviews as part of their marketing will absolutely love that interview. Until next week, I'm Timbo Reid. Thanks for tuning into the Small Business Big Marketing Show. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.